stream. I hope you all are well. I'm playing a bit of a beat in the background. We're gonna talk today about XY transfer, but also about the Predator-3, the new soundbank. The last live stream I played it already, and now I did check everything, did the tagging, the volume checkup, you know, all the little checkups, so that, for instance, in the XY always something is addressed. So that's what I do with the current preset. So if you go to the first preset, you see the XY is used here. But if you go to a different preset, let's see where you see live. Here you can see live. Well, this preset has named up, broken up. You send here is the, there is a routing is filter 1 and filter 1, the resonance. So each preset, even if it's in the XY live mode, so if you, there's always something happening. Sometimes the XY has a movement recorded, and then of course things are totally different. So if I go to another, this is a cluster sound. Let's see, here you see it has a circle. And in this preset, you can see that it uses the XY to control oscillator 1 morphing parameter, oscillator 2 panning, oscillator 3 panning, and even oscillator 1 volume. So you have a total on the X, you have 4 destinations on the X movement and 4 destinations on the Y movement. So that's quite a lot. So this is what I did. I checked the preset if everything is in order in terms of volume. Some presets I did rename because I thought, yeah, it's more a synth sound than a pet sound, but Sanguinea makes not a problem with that. He is fine with that. And I can see he is a chat room. Yeah, Sanguinea, it's a very nice sound bank. It's called the 030 Sanguinea Project 02. And you can download it from the info section down here below in the info section from this YouTube live stream. You can download it already. The Anchor S presets will follow a bit later on. Most likely I will put this bank in the early bird presets. But so keep an eye on that in case you use Anchor S system, which means machine or the complete control. So it's a very nice sound bank, and we have 2 subjects today. One is the about XY transfer, will be a bit later on, and sure. So small details I did change. There's one preset which I found a bit less useful, so I start changing it. And that one has a different name now. It was a kind of piano. And where is it again? It's a pad. And so I messed up the preset from Sanguinea, and that ended up in a good sound. Here it is. It is pad saw Rob. So that's a little bit of a joke in the name. So very soft. See also the XY moving around, so that also you see the XY is doing all kind of things. By the way, normally if you have Predator in the default setting, you have here the menu where you can see the graphic things. So dial animation is on, oscillator wave animation is on, 3D animation is on, and show wave screen on preset change is off. So when I put that one off, each time when I go to next preset, it shows the, oh, that sounds a little bit like Star Trek. Oh, just by the notes. So this is each time you get a new preset, it so that looks nice for you don't have the abstraction of XY envelope up whatever. So that's a feature what we have so that you see the waveform. But if you found that annoying because you're editing or whatever, you can shut it off. Then you go here in the menu, in the graphics settings, and then you say show wave screen on preset change on, and you put it off. And then it's, again, if you say, okay, I only want to check if the XY all are correct, then you... So here you can see that the XY uses the morphing from 1, oscillator 3, oscillator 2. So let's play a few of these presets. I made a collection of very nice one. Up bridges, that's a very good up sound. You can click on the up. So very complex. It uses 4 ups. You see play mode is up A until D. So here's the edit screen. You see A, B, C, and D. They play after each other, and each time there is a little bit of difference. A very complex up sound. This is a very nice bass sound, but it's also an affix sound. Yeah, and then we have the cluster sounds. Originally, they were named one Auriga, but because they are a cluster of a chord, a cluster, a chord. So therefore, I call them a cluster. And you see, if you go to the play mode, you see that the chord memory is used. And if you hit one note, it just plays for you these notes, what you see down here. So these are the cluster sounds. It's nice atmospheric sounds. Yeah, and you see that Sanguinea uses a lot the XY, controlling the volumes by using the XY, on oscillator 1 and oscillator 3. And you see his edit is visible, and you can put it off. That's stored inside the preset. But if you think I'm gonna add it, you always can edit the sound. So that's still an option. Or you pick more destinations. You say, okay, let's also use the filter 1 on the Y movement. Hear that whoosh. And you see it up here, the movement, the animated dials. So some very nice cluster sounds. And it's very cool if you use that in the music. Yeah, nice. Another one, cluster. Sounds a bit like an organ. Of course, you see, I play only one note because essentially it's the chord memory playing. So essentially, if I hit one note, the system plays for me the other notes. So 0 is, of course, the root key, which are the key I play. Then you got which you cannot change. Then you got the second note is on a 3 semi higher, The third note is 7 semi-higher, and the fourth note is -2. And then you also can change the panning of it. So I could also say pan this one this way. Then the notes are separate stereo. What's the mellow bass you are using with this one? Yeah, I was tweaking that ahead of that. I'm checking the chat room. I will show you the bass because essentially it's a preset, but I tweaked it. And I wanted to show you, but I do that after I show the presets from Sanguinea. FX short, that's also a cool one. So this is a very short clicking sound. But if you open the modulation wheel, cool, isn't it? Well, this is a kind of keyboard sound. Has a little bit of and you see that also in the play mode. You see here we have the play controls. You see here that has a little bit of portamento. So if that annoys you, bring this one back. So really a hybrid, nice synth sound. Yeah, the pad I played, this one was a very nice dark one. Yeah, pad sounds, many pads. See a lot of morphing going around here with the waveforms, very cool. So Sanguinea really uses the morphing feature a lot in the presets. That's very, very, very cool. This one I had before, I think. Yeah, and as mentioned, you can download this bank already. If you own Predator-3, go inside the info section from YouTube. I have the instructions there. You need to unzip and copy this folder into the bank folder of Predator-3, which is in My Documents on your PC, and in Applications, Data, the folder of Papen, Predator-3 on your Mac computer. But this one was also very nice. So sounds keep on moving. Yeah, pad long distance. Let me play that one. So in total, 80 presets. Let's play some music. Pat Ocean uses the vowel filter. Here's the vowel filter. That one we had. Sleep Well. So you see, I gave it a star, this bank. it's also cool, this one. It's an FX sound. Yeah, I see some very, very nice presets. 80 of them, and of course we will add them in the next version of Predator-3 if we have an update, a little update. But you can download them from the info section below. And once we have the NKS, you also can see to the early bird presets. So that's a section which we started some time ago on our home page. Okay, let me see if I can show you. So here is the home page, and then you see the home page, and then you see the go to the sound sets, early bird presets, and then you see here Predator-3, soon more. So that's going to be uploaded tomorrow once we have also the NKS. So there you will find them. Here's an image missing, I see. Yeah. That's of course something which we added already, so I need to update the homepage a little bit. There are sound sets you see for hardware synthesizers. The Waldorf M sound set has been released. I need to add that also to the Waldorf section here. One of the very first sound sets I created was for the Microwave One. It was the signature sound card, which was my official first sound design set available in the early 90s for the Waldorf Microwave, which was more like a PPG rack version. And now Waldorf releases the M synthesizer. It's in my studio, and I converted already the signature card and the techno card, so they are available on the Waldorf page. And if you go 1 second, let's go back. So I'll give you some other information now. Oops. YouTube.com. Okay, I'm streaming and I'm looking at YouTube. I'm not sure if that is a good plan. Sounds. So. Okay.
Hey, my name is John.
Yeah, that's advertising you get. Okay. Give me a second, and then I show you. Oops. Yeah, okay. Here it comes. So if you go on YouTube and you search for the skip ad, you search for the Papen signature sound for Waldorf M, then you will find this YouTube video where I play some of the sounds. It's these sounds are from the 90s, early 90s. I created them, and so they you could. Here's the M. You see them here, and this blue thing, and this is the. Maybe I should make it a little bigger. Oops, too big. It's the this is the M, the new M, and that one loads in the microwave sounds. So that is a little sidetrack. Okay, let's shut that down without shutting down you guys. Okay, let's see the chat room. Yeah, and I see Johan is also there. Yeah, before we go to XY transfer, I wanted to show the question from Winston about the bass. Yeah, well, essentially this bass is a little bit edited. So let's open it. And a tricky thing with bass is suddenly some people say sometimes, oh, I don't get the bass right in the mix, but it's all very often a matter of volume and balance between the rest, and that the other sounds don't interfere with the bass. The bass you need to have as a solid thing inside of it. So this is the bass G Funka. It's a preset, and it uses a legato mode. Where is it? Here is the play mode, legato. So I made it very dark. It's only one oscillator, you see, triangle with a bit sub oscillator, so it's the original one should be, let's see. Can I see what I selected? Bass G Funka. Oh yeah, it should be in this bank, I think. Yeah, that's what you, if you change the preset, of course. So it's a very, this is essentially the bass, but because it's so dark and it has a lot of energy, and if you take it down in volume, yeah, because it's so muddy, this bass is really muddy, makes that it has really the function of being a bass in the mix. It doesn't interfere with the other frequency, with the other things playing. Yeah, sure, one oscillator is more than enough for a bass sound. I mean, that's the misunderstanding with many people. They think then they need to they need to have 6 oscillators running to have a big solid bass. But picture a real bass guitar. If you hit the string, only one string moves. Then and if you use 2 oscillators, you have the rest, of course, of if you detune them, that you got phase and anti-phase. And this is also a subject I describe in my book about creating a good bass sounds. Johan has the pulse. Yeah, that's one. It's also in my rack. I created also some presets for the Waldorf Pulse at that time in the 90s. So that's what I did. Simply took one preset and simply did edit it. So it's bass G Funka. Right. Oh, here it is. That's the one. Yeah, sorry, it's lighting up here. Bass. So if I go here, I'm back again. Then I have the original one again. So you see, a preset is also a good starting point. So now it's not as what we want. So what I did is make it cutoff down and envelope amount less. Made it a bit longer decay. Yeah, so that's what to do with what you can do with a preset. The point is with if you have 2 oscillators and use them for bass and each are on the same pitch, same frequency, because each oscillator has their own life, you get phase and anti-phase. And that's why, for instance, on the tracks, the mini Moogs, which you hear in the 70s, they always had the 2 oscillators and then 1 octave divided in between. Because then if 1 octave was lower than the other one, they did not interfere with phase and anti-phase for the fundamental. So that's a story which I explain in the book. Okay. Yeah. I don't think that I get a copy strike for showing that. Last week I had this bass sound, and maybe you saw this last live stream where I did this bass sound and changed the attack, you know, can recall it again. Oh, it's still that, so you even could do it on this one. So on this one it's not so effective. Yeah, cool, isn't it? So yeah, we'll keep that one in the background. Yeah, and then Johan asked me for the X-Y transfer to show more about X-Y transfer, and it's already running in the background on the snare and tambourine. So I'm checking again before I go to X-Y transfer the chat room. Talking about Moog, I love the bass in Funky Town Lips. Yeah, incorporation. Yeah, it was a Dutch production. I don't know which people were behind it, but it's a very cool track. Okay, is that called a slap house bass? Okay, yeah, well, there's so many terms in the dance world. Phil is asking, is there a key track high-pass filter as samples are used? Oh, yeah. Key track high-pass filter. Well, inside Predator, sure it is. It's the high-pass filter is here. You can put it on and you have keyboard tracking. And that's mostly handy if you have, for instance, a sequencer. So, for instance, if I play now, before I go to X-Y transfer, let me show this very shortly. If you have this bass, it's nice, the bass. Okay. Okay, that's nice. And I have a sequence sound. Okay, this one is pretty much bit mess up. Okay, that's the wrong synthesizer. Okay, let me show you a sound. It's not so nice sequence, but picture. That you have this as a sequencer next to the bass, and maybe you don't think that it is, but it has a lot of low end in this sound also. So if I play it solo, you might think it has not that much low end, but watch now what happens if I use the high pass filter. Now it's too thin, a bit lower. Now it's much better in the mix already because it doesn't interfere with the bass. So if I shut down the high pass filter, here it's much a little bit with the bass. Now with the high pass filter on, so the bass stays more its bass. Of course I could make a more, but that's a very nice trick to use the high pass filter also. Essentially, while mixing, of course, you could also use the EQ on your mixer. But why not use the synthesizer? Because what you can do with the synthesizer is even more. You could also say, okay, this is nice, but yet you say, I'm gonna use this dynamically, and you use the modulation wheel to control this high pass filter. High pass filter frequency. So you have it in your mix. Don't judge the sequences, a bit boring. Okay, so it has the high pass filter, but now I can make it disappear by using the modulation wheel. Okay, I also need to use the modulation wheel on the filter, otherwise the high pass filter filters, and then the low pass filter here also needs to be going. So the modulation wheel now also controls the cutoff frequency of the. So then you have something combined. You can make the sound change dynamically, and that's of course compared to using an EQ for cutting away your low end. I don't like the sequence. now I have the high pass filter for removing this low rumble in the sequence sound. Now it messes a little bit with the bass. This makes it a little bit cleaner. And then of course, yeah, you can do even more. So I use now the modulation wheel to control the high pass filter, but also the main filter. And if you make it even more wild, you can say, okay, let's do here a delay. I use again the modulation wheel and use the affix to mix. And again, modulation wheel. I use the feedback. See, yeah, it started out with the sequence sound to show what you can do with a high pass filter, and that's also one of the main reasons why Predator-3 has the additional high pass filter. It's for such a thing very cool, and you still can use two filters up here because here it uses a 20 to 24 dB low pass filter, a 12 dB notch filter behind it. You see here, this in series, and then, yeah, just by using the modulation wheel, that's a cool thing. I mean, if you use your EQ and cut off the low end, okay, that's also nice, but we are using synthesizers, and we can do even more things with that. And then, so now this whole sequence sound, it's far more interesting now, because I did a little bit of editing. Let's play it solo and use the modulation wheel. See how much cool things you can do simply by using a modulation matrix, modulation wheel, and address it to a few parameters. Good. Let's see if has sample base 2 got key track high pass? Yes and no, not as default, but that's always something you can do. So here you have the second filter, and then you can say the second filter high pass. Pick one of the filters in filter 2. And then you simply go to the mod matrix, you select here the source, which could be then your note, the note information, and that you use on the filter 2 frequency, and then you have keyboard tracking. So you don't see keyboard tracking here basically as a feature like it is here in the filter 1. Here you see keyboard tracking, you can have it positive and even negative. So here you need to address that by the modulation matrix. By the way, what is also possible is drag and drop. So if it should be possible, if I pick here a high pass filter, that I can drag and drop the destination. Here it is, filter. And of course, I still need to select the source, which is then the note. So it's possible, but you need to use the mod matrix for controlling the high pass filter with the keyboard note. Yeah, high pass filter is always very handy, definitely. Not for all sounds, but it can be very handy. So yeah, let's go to the X-File transfer. Johan is in the chat room. And by the way, if you missed the chat start, the live stream start, you always can watch it back in the playlist live streams, or you can use the slider. Yeah, what is XY transfer? XY transfer is a combination of FX, especially for the more experimental producers which love to do thinking out of the box. So I took from Punch a groove, which you can hear playing. Okay, now I need to pick F3. And here we have XY transfer. By the way, XY transfer I need to update for one day because that is what confusing me, because we have always the label on the left side and then the button on the right side. And here, for some reason, we had a brain fart and the button is on the wrong side. So you see here, live is on the button should be on this side. But okay, most likely nobody noticed, only me. But this, for instance, is a preset. It's called All Moves FX. There you see 3 blocks, block 1, 2, and 3, and a delay. So block 1 is a filtered bandpass filter. So each block can have a kind of FX, and we picked particular FX which are nice to combine together. And here you can see you can also bypass it. And let's bypass the first one, the second one, the third one, and even the delay can be bypassed by clicking on the icon. So it's there's a little snare and the tambourine. So now you can hear me. So it's the tambourine and the snare. The first FX is the filter. And as you can see, it uses the XY replay, but you also can use it static. So each FX has its own. And I recorded that and I have a replay. And you see down here, the replay, you can tempo sync. It's tempo sync, it's free running, of course. Yeah, and then you have the second FX, which is a comp filter. So essentially you combine several things together. And the comp filter does this. And you see here the XY has a different thing going on. And here's the target. So it's the target is the X, the frequency, and the feed. And you got the damping. So yeah, you have the Y destination and the X destination. X is in the horizontal way and the Y is the vertical way. So that's a comp filter. So the second FX is behind it. So you have then a filter and a comp filter behind it. And then the third one essentially is a little room. And that one is shaving. Sounds like a shaver. So if I have it play, you hear it's a little room, stormy room. I also could add a bass drum. Okay. Bass drum. And then you have here, of course, the mix. Dry. Maybe it could be a bit louder. So let's play it a little bit louder, 1 second. Because it's maybe a bit soft. So this is the room. Yeah, and then the XY can have, you see, it's a rhythm movement. Comp. So So that's essentially the whole idea. Is you have 3 FX with its own XY. That's why it's called XY transfer, which you can record, but use it also in a live way. So you could also say, weird, isn't it? Bypass. And then you on top of that, there's also nice delay. Okay. My bass drum was not that tight. Yeah, there's an envelope follower. You can use an input to use the input of the blocks. It doesn't have a sidechain yet. That's something we can do in future update, but you can use the input also as a source for making this one move. You have a modulation matrix. And then you have, of course, different ways in how you can use the blocks. So you also could say different delay and then parallel. So then you got the delay first. You see first the delay, and then you got these blocks, which are the parallel. Crazy. So yeah, that's the whole basic concept. There are 3 modules with FX, a special dedicated FX, like a filter, room, shaper. You also has grain, even grain is inside of it. Let's see. Mostly that doesn't work very well with. Yeah, that's going to be crazy. So these 3 FX, which each their own XI, which you can record, tempo base, has a delay. You can connect them in different ways. Or you have an audio follower, which you can use to control parameters. And you have a little modulation matrix. There's a trigger button here. You can trigger. You have the separate modes where you can trigger the movement. So if I have here the not free running, but if I hit trigger, then it starts moving. You see down here, it's trigger, and then it starts moving. Follower, the audio follower can trigger it. You also can trigger it on a node. So of course, this is an FX, but if you connect your keyboard to the FX, you can also trigger the playing of the XY on the node. So this is definitely a FX for people who search out of the box things. So let's play a few. So there are many presets. This is of course a basic bandpass filter, ring vocal. Yeah, it can do some very stuff. So put it on a drum loop or your vocal and just play around with the presets. Sometimes you get effects which are, out of the box, weird, and that's people who maybe audio video stuff for games or for television or simply for your track. If you're doing, I think if you're doing psytrance or something like that, or house, this really could be for some interesting FX sounds. It works. XY transfer works like 3 FX with a delay. Yeah. And you can adjust in real time for weird FX. Yeah, that's the whole concept. So this is block 1, block 2, and block 3. You see, this is the different paths you can select. You can have also first, the delay on a different spot. You see, block 1, delay, block 2, block 3. Yeah. Or first delay and then block the other blocks. Of course, you don't see it in the order, but that's why we have it here in the graphic display. I don't think it's for everybody, but it's very cool if you like experimental stuff and you know, yeah, your way with FX, and looks like you like to have some fun. And you see there are so many presets on board. There's drums and percussion, which should be working on this drum sound. It's grains, so it's a very... Oh, this one. So this is the original one. This is after XY transfer. Yeah, so you see, it's pretty much... I don't know how I would call it in general. I think there's nothing out there which has this basic concept. It's a crazy machine. Most likely it's invented by the Borg. When I look at it, I think about the Borg. You know Star Trek and the Borg? I think it's a Borg machine. Resistance is futile. Okay, I'm looking in the upper section in the chat room. Johan, is it a little bit clear? So depending on your music style, yeah, you might be able to use it or not, of course. You can use it on your voice. So let's see how it's on my voice. That's a good one. I need to, where is it? Oops. My voice, where is it? Of course, I need to select it. That's why I transfer. Okay, now I'm in slide transfer. We have a bang for vocal. Oh, this is a lo-fi talk. This is mad. It's very mad. Nice room delay. Oh, it's also a nice preset here. It's a nice room delay. And no XY delay. There's a nice delay also inside. There's a room modulation on the vocal. Okay, vocal combo. Vocal delay. Higher. Okay, smoother. Yes, very high. And this goes down. Okay, yeah, vocal grain right, left, right. So this is nice for, yeah, for vocal FX. Yeah. Vocal cathode. Yeah, this is the vocal is totally gone. Yes, vocal space range. Well, you can see a lot of sounds on board. So XY, it's not for everybody, but for the ones who love to experiment, for psytrance, house, I think it's very, very useful. Okay, I'm checking here. Back to Predator-3. So, checking again the chat room. Yes. I'm reading. Maybe it's still an idea. I hope, Johan, this one is good enough in terms for you for, yeah, the basic concept of XY transfer, but especially experiment with the presets and have fun. Okay, yeah, of course, people want to know about the Blue 3, and if we are working on it. Still a lot of work, but we still aim to have it at the end of this year. But in the meantime, we can enjoy our other products, and of course still Blue 2, because Blue 2 is top notch. But we're going to add to Blue 3 the physical modeling, the string model, you know, from Subboom Base 2, granular you can use on the samples, all that kind of fun things will be added. The bank manager will be equal to what we use. The size will be a bit different. Of course, the size will be the same as Predator-3, so you also will have different user interface sizes, all that kind of things. Yeah, for the ones who missed it, we have the Sanguinea presets available. So this new bank, which I played in the start of the live stream, the Bank 030 Sanguinea Project 02. You can download it from the info section from YouTube. This bank will be later on also in the full version of Predator-3, and I will put it also in the early bird presets section on the homepage once I have the NKS preset versions of it. Very nice bank, 80 presets, some great pads, some cluster sounds, and let's play again a few of them. And this one uses the chord memory, which you see down here. So I hit one note and it plays for you the other notes. You see, and even has some little panning here. Other pads, very nice pad sound, pad ocean. Okay, pad sound. Let me see, somebody give Blue Manager a mouse right-click preview. Yeah, that is also inside, I think, in Predator. If you click right, that maybe some people don't know that, but if you're in the bank manager and you click on the right button, the right mouse button, it additions the sounds without loading. Because it needs to load the sound sometimes. So that's the way to do, but mostly I pick simply the preset. So we would have that in Blue 3, we would have that. With Blue 2, I think it's not sure if that's still possible, because the Blue 2 uses the older bank system, which means that each bank has 128 presets. What you see now in Predator-3 with the bank manager, each preset is a single file. So Blue 2 essentially uses the original VST format, which came over from the hardware, but now all the brands jumped over to having single preset files. So I still could ask John if it's possible, but of course John likes to focus on Blue 3 now, which is much work for the end of the year. So if I have Blue 2 here, let me see. No, Blue doesn't have that. Yeah, you see, that's also the reason when you see pads 1, you see 128 presets, and in pads 3, you see a lot of default, but that's because this bank has not all the presets yet on board. So, yeah, I'm not sure if it's possible. Maybe it is, but for sure in Blue 3 you will have this feature, and of course also tagging, and essentially the same system we use with Predator-3, with the bank manager, which we use in all our current last releases, the bank manager, where you can set your category of the sound and find feature the You can add things to the favorites folder. You can give a preset a star if you like it, because that's what I did here. You see, there's this preset here, this key Grafito, which Winston liked. Yeah, I give it a star, so you find it easily back. The difference between Blue and Predator, well, it's a totally different concept. Blue is more a combination of FM synthesis together, so 6 oscillators FM synthesis with built-in samples, also some subtractive thing, and the Predator-3 does focus on hybrid more, the classic virtual analog combined with some hybrid so the totally different concepts. So is there a release date? Yeah, release date is hard to give. We hope at the end of the year. We aim to at the end of October, but well, could be November, even December, because it's always much work to create something. Okay, so where was I? I was playing a few presets. Yeah, this one. Pet 1985. It's a very dark pet sound. Yeah, so yeah, here, for instance, in Predator, if you look here, the this is a typical Predator-3 sound where you have a wavetable. It can morph to the wavetable. You see the morphing, so it goes from one digital waveform to another digital waveform. And if you go to Bluetooth, that's a totally different story and makes totally different sounds. So I had this so this is a finger bell piano. So it uses a little bit of FM synthesis down here. DE modulates F. So if that's really FM synthesis, but in Bluetooth it's combined with a finger bell, which is a sample, which is adds the little bell to the sound. Okay. So yeah, both are different beasts. Absolutely, it's like comparing bananas with apples. Both are having a different thing. Yeah, sure. There are demo versions. If you go to the homepage, you can find on the front a button demo, and there you can download the demo version. It only has the introduction bank, so it doesn't have all the presets. So only the introduction bank, but that does give a very good impression of what you get from the product. So as you see here, Predator-3 has its introduction bank. Some of the people like the mellow carpet, which is very analog sounding. Oh no, that's not the one. That's one. By the way, you could use that together with Bluetooth. So if you hit that's a trick, by the way, in Cubase. If you hit Bluetooth here and click that one. Yeah, cool. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. Hope to see you next week again. Next Thursday we have another live stream. Then I will focus on Punch, because we have the Punch 2 months. And I was hoping to have some new samples for you, so rototoms, but they didn't come in yet. So, but maybe I will create some other presets for you. But so next Thursday, Punch 2, we have a focus on the synthesis in the Punch 2 world. Okay, thanks for watching, and give it a thumbs up if you like it. And yeah, if you missed it, just start from the beginning, and then you can watch again the whole live stream. And if you own Predator-3, don't forget to download this soundbank. It's a great bank. And thanks, Sanguinea, for sharing that with us. Absolutely